Hi, I'm Dr. Darren Adamson from Argosy University here in Salt Lake City. Today I have the opportunity to talk to you about how adoption affects children. Adoption affects children in a fairly predictable way. Not every child is exactly the same, certainly, but one of the things that's important is that children, all of us actually as humans, but certainly children, want to be wanted, and they have a sense of abandonment often when they discover that they've been adopted. When they're a child and they're being adopted, it's important simply to take care of all of their physical needs, their emotional needs, their mental needs. And that would be true whether the child is being adopted or not. So early on, make sure that all their needs are met as much as possible. Make sure they have love, make sure they're warm, make sure they have enough to eat, make sure that if they've soiled a diaper that they're cleaned up. But as they grow older, it's important to ensure that they have attached to their adoptive parents, that there is a good bond or a strong bond between their adoptive parents, between the adoptive parents and the child. You know, children are going to be curious about being adopted when maybe they see that perhaps the color of their hair is vastly different than the color of their adoptive parents' hair, or they see that perhaps their physical features are way different than their adoptive parents. It's important at that age to help them understand that, in fact, they were adopted, that they're loved in their family, that you're their parent, and that you always will be, but that they were adopted, that their birth mother was willing to give them up for adoption so that they could have the wonderful life that they have with you. I think also when they're older teenagers particularly, or when they get into their teen years, they're going to be curious about, why was I given up for adoption? What's wrong with me? They're trying to figure out their identity at that age. And so it's important at that age that you really help them understand that they weren't given up for adoption because there was anything wrong with them. They were given up for adoption because the situation that they were born into was difficult. And to give them up for adoption so that you could adopt them created a life for them that was much better than the circumstances in which they were born. So reassure them, love them, and make sure that all of their questions are answered as much as you possibly can.